You're listening to the Visibly Fit podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Wendie Pett, and every week I'll give you holistic, practical solutions for everyday issues related to nutrition, healing, functional fitness, and behavior modifications. As a naturopath, fitness expert, and wellness coach for over 20 years, my goal is to empower you to reach for greater health and to rise up to your next level of living in mind, body, and spirit. You were created with greatness in mind. It's time to own it. Are you with me? Then let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Visibly Fit podcast. I'm your host, Wendie Pett. This podcast is part of the Spark Media Network, and it can be found on the Edify app, pray.com, and KHCB Uplifted Streaming, and all the other platforms as well. Yes, you're probably listening. Maybe you're listening on Spotify or, I don't know, Pocket Casts. Yeah, it's found there. So wherever you're listening, I'm just happy you're here. Welcome to the show. I have been talking to a few of my friends lately, and they've been under the weather, and I'm so bummed for them because, yeah, it is kind of 'tis the season, right? It's the season where, you know, people are starting to get busier with the holidays coming up, and there's more stress happening. It's colder out, so people aren't getting outside and doing as much. And, you know, there's a couple hundred viruses just floating around all the time anyway, and people are coughing and sneezing. And yeah, you have to build up your immune system. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to build up your immune system so that you don't get sick, because I don't want you sick. That's the last thing I want for you. And you can avoid that. You really can. Or if you do get a cold, how can you push through it a lot quicker? And that's what we want to talk about, because it is not fun being ill at all, right? No, it's not. Well, you know, these colds are usually like respiratory infections. They're viruses, and you know, you can't just go get an antibiotic, and which I'm not a fan of just going and doing anyway, no matter what yeah, I'm not a fan. So but you can't get through a cold with an antibiotic, is what I'm trying to say. You have to let it run its course. So let's prevent it from happening in the first place, or let's get through these colds a lot quicker by taking care of your immune system the right way. You know, the thymus gland is part of the lymphatic system and also the endocrine system. And the thymus gland is actually located near your heart, and it's kind of behind your sternum and in between your lungs. And it's this little gland thing. It's like a gland that's, I don't know, maybe an ounce and a half in size, weight. And it actually helps to train the white blood cells, the T cells, those ones that go out and you know, they're like the Army, the Marines, or whatever you want to call them, that are going out on the front lines and battling so that those viruses will, you know, get out of your body. So they are fighting on your behalf. And so the thymus gland helps to train those cells, and those T cells were actually produced before you were even born. Can you believe that? Yeah, pretty amazing. And they actually continued to produce while you were a child, and then they usually stop by the time you hit puberty, and then you have all the T cells that you need for the rest of your life. So those T cells are like that. That's your army. Those are your Marines. Those are what's going to war for you to battle these viruses in your body. And that thymus gland actually shrinks as we get older. Yes, it shrinks, and it is replaced with fatty tissue. I know, not exciting news, but but what is exciting is that you can keep that thymus gland active and strong, and still doing what it needs to do by taking good care of your body. And there's a lot of things that you can eat, things that you can supplement with, ways in which your environment is established and ways that you're, sleeping and stressing less and that kind of thing that plays a big role on your immune system. And I talk a lot in this podcast about, inflammation and your immune system and eating anti-inflammatory foods and all the things, because it is a big role in how you show up and how your body operates, by how you're fueling your body, how you're taking care of yourself day in and day out. It takes discipline, right? Especially during this busy holiday up and coming season. There's more activities on the calendar. People are staying up later. They tend to, because of all those activities. You may not be getting as much sleep as you should be. And really, we need to be really cognizant of making sure that our circadian rhythms are balanced and they're working properly. And the way that we do that is by training ourselves and training the melatonin that's produced in the pineal gland that's in our brain to produce melatonin or stop producing melatonin. And the way that we have all this artificial lighting and a TV screen in front of our face, or the phone in front of our face, or computer, all hours of the day and night, it's really caused havoc on our sleep patterns and the production of melatonin. That's why so many people take synthetic melatonin, but I believe that that's not a good idea. I believe that we need to get your body producing that hormone on its own. And the way to do that is by being disciplined and turning down the screens, turning off the screens, turning down the lights, dimming them, starting to live more by candlelight in the evening, but also waking up and making sure that you see the sun rise. You may rise earlier, but making sure that you see the sun rise with your eyes, getting a hit of that red and orange hue from the sun will really start to tell the body, stop producing melatonin. She's awake, it's daytime. And then when the sun sets, when you start to see the hues of the sun, that red and pink hue, then it cues the body to start producing melatonin, to start getting you ready for bed. So it's real important that we have good sleep hygiene, and that way our body will be functioning in its optimal level, and our immune system will be healthy and well. Now, there are so many things that we can do for our immune system to ensure that we either prevent from getting colds, which is really my goal for you. And also, y'all know, I've told you about this before, but I do have a detoxifying drink, but it's also an immune boosting drink, and it's found at liveimmune.com. If you want to go and get that recipe, it's free, and I can send that right to your email inbox, liveimmune.com, and you will get that green drink recipe, which is awesome for your immune system. But, there's so many things that you can take according to the season. And as we know that this is the season where colds tend to come in a little more heavily, what can we do to combat that? Obviously, I just mentioned about sleep. That's so important. Sleeping a little bit longer during this season, maybe an hour longer because it's darker and that kind of thing, is okay. Allow yourself, give yourself the space to give yourself an extra hour, either on the front end or the back end, however you need to maybe go to bed earlier or however that needs to work. Sleep in later so that you get a little extra rest. But also, making sure that you are getting enough vitamin D. Most people are deficient in vitamin D. In fact, I did an episode 9 is called Sunshine, Sunflowers, and Vitamin D. And I give you all the 411 on vitamin D. So make sure you go and listen to that. But it is critical for our immune system. And we need that vitamin D. So if you aren't getting outside during these colder months, then I don't know, do something different. You have to get outside, dress accordingly, or make sure you're by a window where you can get sunshine, at least, 20 to 30 minutes a day. It doesn't take much, but it really does make a big difference in your immune system. So make sure you go and listen to that episode 9, but also simple things that what most of you probably know is vitamin C, right? Like that's a biggie. And obviously you can get that through eating proper foods, but you might need to supplement a little extra in this season. I actually supplement 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams this time of year, even though I'm eating, my fair share of vitamin C with all my healthy, whole food, plant-based recipes that I make. But I just want to ensure that I stay really, really healthy this time of year. So you might want to increase just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, from bell peppers to oranges to strawberries. And there's actually a lot of incredible vegetables that have vitamin C in it. So make sure you're eating according to your needs as well, because that vitamin C does help fight the virus. So that's important. Also eating, I was talking about eating, and I talk about this, I think, even in the episode 9 with vitamin D. Eat mushrooms. Yes. Insert those into your recipes that you're making, or soups, whether it's reishi or shiitake or, chaga. There's so many, shiitake, maitake, reishi, lion's mane, just regular brown mushrooms. There's so many mushrooms, but that's a great way to get vitamin D too. But they are immune boosting. They have immune boosting agents in them, and will help you during this time of year. So they help to maximize that immune support. So when you're eating for your best health, then it makes a big difference. Even things like garlic, onions, bringing in ginger. There was actually studies that said that people that ate more garlic had, if they did get a cold, they only had the cold for about 1.5 days, compared to those that didn't eat garlic, and they had their colds anywhere from 5 to 6 days. So just implementing garlic into your daily routine, basically. Cook with garlic. I know your breath might stink, whatever. Your pits might stink, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's okay. I'd rather you smell like garlic than you be sick. Okay. All right. And hey, you're going to ward off those vampires. When did that interesting notion ever come about? Anyway, I'd have to look that up. Anyway, the funny things that come about during the season with vampires. Anyway, speaking of vampires, energy vampires, keep those away from you. That's right. During this time of year, if you are dealing with people that are stressful, that are just sucking you dry, your energy, just depleting you and causing just an emotional roller coaster in your world, put up healthy boundaries. That will help your immune system by far. Yes, by far. Also, things like echinacea. Echinacea is a great supplement to bring in this time of year to help, prevent cold and also combat colds if you're already dealing with one. But echinacea is amazing, actually. Lewis and Clark, I read this somewhere recently, and they, when they were on one of their expeditions and exploring, they discovered that the Native Americans were using echinacea, and that it really helped with their cold remedies. And they found that to be one of their most important finds during their early 1800 expedition. So much so that they took seeds of echinacea back to President Thomas Jefferson. And so we have them to thank, maybe, for knowing more about echinacea. But echinacea is powerful. It will really help with building your immune system. And the thing about echinacea is not all echinacea is created equal. So make sure when you do look for echinacea that you are finding echinacea that is different species of it, not just like the one plant, that there's different varieties, and also that you're getting all parts of the plant. Some of the supplementations on the market just have one part of the plant, but then you're not going to have the potency that your body really does deserve to have to fight the colds best. So yeah, check out echinacea. That's a good one that we like to use. Also elderberry. Elderberry is a big one. And I know that it's become more and more popular over the years. Some people do elderberry syrup, which we've done over the years. You can make your own. It's really pretty simple. You can, take it, capsule. It's up to you how you would like to take it, but that's a great, supplementation that will help get you through the cold season so much better and so much easier. Turkey tail is a great one. It boosts immune system. Zinc, especially if you have like sore throat, zinc lozenges are fantastic for that. Make sure you're drinking lots of fluids during this time of year. That will help with your immune system. And I don't mean, Cokes and sweet tea. I'm talking water. I'm talking, different like broth, like we do vegetable broth. We do different teas, like a ginger tea is really great. Ginger is fantastic for the immune system. Bringing in anti-inflammatory spices with your teas are great, like cinnamon and turmeric, and those kind of things would help your immune system as well. So you have to be proactive, people. I don't want you to be sick. I mean, seriously, hearing a couple of my friends, I'm just like, they've had to cancel major work events, and it's just no one likes to be sick. So let's do our best so that we're not sick. In fact, I had a couple ladies in my Bible study and their kids are sick, and it's just kind of going around. So if you know that, let's just go ahead and prevent it the best that we can and do our part, right? Also make sure you're exercising, right? You knew I was going to go there. You've got to move your body. You've got to get that lymphatic system moving, whether you're, rebounding in the morning. My husband and I do that quite often. Taking a walk, obviously, doing some strength training, that kind of thing, but just moving your body. Doing some high intensity training is great too, but you have to, again, be proactive and be intentional, because there are a lot of moving parts to creating a healthy immune system, but it doesn't have to be so overwhelming either. In fact, you probably have several of what I've mentioned to you mastered already, which is great. You can even bring oils to the mix. You can have some diffusers going with some oregano oil, different, lemon, eucalyptus, thyme. You can even do thyme tea. I just take sprigs of thyme and put it in hot water and squeeze a lemon. I'll do that with rosemary as well. And those are great immune boosting options as well. So again, I just want you to be healthy all year long. We have had, the last couple of years of the season, not being so healthy for everybody with the pandemic and everything. So let's just continue to boost our immune system. Okay. We can do that together by eating clean, thinking clean. How about that? Right. Thinking with gratitude and healthy thoughts, and not down and out depressing thoughts. Cleansing your environment, also having good sleep hygiene, exercise. There's also peptides. I'm actually going to have a great interview soon in the next several weeks with someone who is a peptide specialist. But thymosin alpha 1 is a great peptide for boosting your immune system. So there are a lot of options out there. I just want you to be proactive. So hopefully this is helpful. Maybe it spurred on a couple ideas for you, and is keeping your health front of mind. Because again, when you're healthy and happy and whole, then you can go and be better for your family and be better for the community, and just show up in a greater way. So selfishly, I want you to be healthy so that we can all be better as a community together. But if you are looking for someone to keep you accountable with a program that can obviously really boost your immune system, not just during these few months, but for a lifetime as a lifestyle, then reach out to me. Go to wendiepett.com, send me an email. let's just have a conversation, or go to getvisiblyfit.com and you can learn more there. But thank you so very much for tuning in. Next week is, if you're listening to this live, it is Thanksgiving week. So yeah, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for you. But yeah, having those thoughts of gratitude, man, really change the dynamics of how our body responds to and reduces inflammation. But we've got a special guest next week. We're going to talk a little bit about, the holiday time, and maybe certain people in your life during that time that maybe they're a little prickly, how to have better relationships during the holidays, and also how to be crafty during this time. So I hope you'll tune in for the next episode next week and hear from my guest. But thank you so much again for tuning in. Again, if you want more, check out getvisiblyfit.com or go to wendiepett.com. Thank you so much. God bless you, and catch you next time right here on Visibly Fit. Well, that's a wrap for today's show. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love spending this time with you. To learn more and get more free resources, just head on over to wendiepett.com. And thank you in advance for sharing this episode and this podcast, following and subscribing not only to this podcast, but finding me on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, I'm probably there too. Until next week and our next podcast time together, make it a Visibly Fit day.